Ashamed to get kicked out of. I mean, I was ashamed, but it didn't stop me from doing it. So at this point, I'm trying my best, so I'm not ashamed of that. So
Yeah,
I can't think of
absolutely.
anything I wouldn't, be ashamed to talk about.
Yeah, I got you, man. But so when did you? I guess So your DLC is opiates.
Yeah.
I guess what kind of got you into opiates? How did you get introduced to it?
Well, I guess I just would party for a long time, and then I remember the first time I tried them, I had all my wisdom teeth taken out at once, and the first time I tried them, of course, like it didn't. I felt like it didn't work. It made me sick, and I was like, I do not like this at all. Yeah. And but then that bottle sat there, and I was drinking at the time, and then so like. Eventually, I don't know what made me go back to it, even though I didn't like it. But I was like, I might try that again and see what happens. And that was my introduction to it. And for years, man, I mean, I was in bands, playing music, and I did get to where I like it. I liked it, and but it was more of like a weekend thing. Sometimes not even every weekend.
Yeah.
And but I would seek it out. I was like, man, if we're going to do it, like I hope that's involved because that's. I realized really quickly that's the feeling I've always been looking for, and God, man, I was so I did that forever, and I might find some opiates. I might use them one weekend. It might be a couple weeks, might be a month later. I didn't feel like I had to have them, but then I can remember I was like 30. I went through nursing school. I got my nursing license. I can remember being a charge nurse one night. I worked night shifts, and I remember thinking, man, I made it through all that stuff, and here I am. I actually have made it in life, and then little bit later, being charge nurse was a lot of responsibility and stress, and my schedule was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I would go 3 nights with no sleep, like because I'd get home and try to sleep in the day, and I would be thinking like, who can work tonight? And that's what I had to think about. Like I need to call people that come, and so my mind never stopped. Well, it so happened that this was way before the fentanyl crisis had started, and I had a lot of it, not for personal use. I just had it, and one day I thought, you know what, maybe I'll try that. That'll help me sleep, and it helped a lot. It helped me sleep. And the funny thing about fentanyl is, and I know anybody who's ever tried it knows, it's different. Like there's not the euphoria. It mainly is just sleep,
Yeah.
And it's weird because I mean, that was one of my things. That was one of the things that I look for as much as the feeling of that euphoria is I just wanted to sleep all the time. And I never put those together. It's like, you know what? Normal people don't want to sleep 24 hours a day. Like, what's wrong with me? I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But so first I would use it to sleep when I was off work. And then that turned into like my days off. I was like, I kind of like to sleep. So before I knew it, like 3 months had gone by, I was using it all day, every day. And I can remember this is when I first ever knew I had a problem. Because I wouldn't use at work. But I had it in my truck. And so I had to do a 12-hour shift. And, morning shift comes in, my boss, he's like, hey, we need to have a meeting with all the charge nurses, day shift and night shift. And I was like, oh my God, okay. I was tired already. And I can remember we were in his office and I was sitting up on a desk. And that meeting went on for 2 hours and I started getting really uncomfortable. And I was like, what's wrong with me? And I was like, real fidgety, and I was like, man, my kidneys are they failing on me right now? What's going on? And and I was just like real irritable.
Yeah.
And I couldn't put it together yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was falling apart in that office. And when I got to my truck, of course that was there, and I was like, well, and it went away. And I was like, oh, I know what this is. That's physical withdrawals. And I never experienced that.
Just put 2 and 2 together, it kind of snapped.
As soon as I did that, I was like, oh man, I'm in trouble.
Yeah.
And so, going from there, because I never used like that. I never used every day. Even it's crazy. Like even my party years, I never like consistently used all the time. But I guess it just was like it was kind of like covert. You know, it was like it flew under the radar, and I wasn't trying to party. You know, this is okay because I'm using it to sleep, and I'm trying to be productive, and then I'm in trouble, and so that's how I really got introduced. That's how I went. I like to say flipped over to the dark side. Like that's how
like that switch hit.
changed like that, man. Because then I started having to use. You know how the progression goes. I had to start bringing it into work, and I had to start using it at work. And I realized that I can get away with it, and because I'd always worried about people knowing. And then I was like, well, I know how much to do that'll just help me not get sick. You know what I mean?
Keep the sickness away.
Yeah.
Then I can really get how I want to be when I get off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can, step on the gas when I get home and
catch that nod. Dude, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, I remember me being me, and I was like, I realized that was a problem, and I realized like I can't live like this forever. So like, man, I didn't know anything about recovery, or in your head you're fighting. I know we've all went through this. In your head you're like, I'm not like that. Yeah. I'm not like those other people. Yeah. Like I
can handle this.
This is just some kind of
I'm strong. I can do it.
Yeah. One off. I'm not going to treatment. I'm not going to be labeled as an addict. That's crazy. And so I cold turkeyed that. And I tell you why though. It's not because I decided to. It just quit working. Like I guess I'd used so much. My body was telling me, hey, this is not good for you. And like how a lot of times you use to mask your feelings or to numb out. It was making everything intensify. Like anxiety was worse. And usually when my anxiety got bad, I'd be like, okay, it's time to do some more now.
Yeah.
I need my medicine. And it would like, I don't know what was going on. I was like, am I having a heart attack or what's going on? And so I was like, I quit. And man, I was having to show up to work and full-blown withdrawal, and like try to act like a normal person.
That's the worst.
Dude. And you have that hot and cold intolerance, and you're like, everybody else has got the heat on, and I'm sitting here sweating like, what are y'all doing? And it was just bad.
Yeah.
And
mentally too, you're just so like depressed, like the mental aspect of it, not just the physical is worse enough, but it's just like you're just everywhere, scatterbrain, chaos up here.
That's the worst part to me. I was always more afraid of the mental aspect because like that depression that hit, and with fentanyl was a whole different ball game than anything else. I don't know if it's because it's stronger, but when you within those next couple days when you really start feeling it, that I've never really thought about suicide, but like it got so bad that I had to get my parents to like take away my guns and stuff because I had it planned out, man. Yeah. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And it's crazy how crazy you get, because I was like thinking forward to like, hey, I want to be respectful about my suicide. Like, who thinks like that? I was like, I'm going to go outside so I don't mess up the house. Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I know, man. And it really does take you to a dark place, man. And you're just like, how did I even... And then like thinking back now, it's like, how did I even get there? I couldn't even... Now it's like hard for me to even think mentally where I was at, But to me, it was not like it just happened overnight. It was just, like you said, a progression. It's a progression, especially when those real fentanyl, when that withdrawal really starts, about day 3, dude. And, I think I shared this with Chase and some other people on here. I'm not kidding you. I thought I was going crazy, and I'm like, to the point on it, like mentally of, like, death would have been the easiest thing at that point right then. I was like, if I have to feel like, because you never think it's going to end. You really never think this is going
like that.
You're like, this is, and like, even when you're feeling physically better, your mental's still not there.
Yeah.
And it takes another 3, 4, 5 months for you to kind of start. Because even though I was feeling better physically, it's just I was on this roller coaster. I would be so angry, and then I'd be depressed, and then I would be anxious, and then I was all over the place. I'm like, is this ever, I can't live my life like this.
Yeah.
I can't live my life like this anymore. If this is what recovery is about, I don't want no part of it. I'd rather die doing dope than try to live and be sober if this is how it's going to be. And, luckily I just have some people with me. I have a cousin that's went through it. I have multiple other people that went through that kind of just like, Chris, it sucks, man. It's going to suck for a minute. But I will tell you one thing is that the gym, and I know like people obviously we work out and stuff, and people are like, oh, you're meatheads. But I'm telling you, on a physical aspect for that mental game, when I was trying to get clean, how of like a refuge that was.
Yeah.
It was, even though I didn't have the energy. You know how it is, like, dude, it was sometimes hard to even walk. Like, just have the energy. Like getting up off the couch.
Get out of the bed,
like,
yeah.
You just literally took everything you would take just to get up out of the bed. But like going there and just doing something for 10, 15 minutes and then progressing up, it just how it like, I don't know, my mind started to snap back.
Yeah.
And I would like that anger and that aggression and that shame, that guilt. I had something tangible now that I could put out, like the weights and talk and bullshit with the guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just talk, and then that lifts for a little while. It might be 30 minutes it lifts, but then you start getting little glimpses of, feeling better.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, and all this stuff. And, but it's a grind, dude. And I want people to really understand that is that, in the recovery world, not that I have the answers or Chase has the answers or you have the answers, but when you get to a point of like, okay, like this is hard, but like I feel, there's hope. I have a glimmer of hope now.
Yeah.
And I think that was the biggest part of me, man. Not really getting sober, but maintaining sobriety, because it sucks at times. It's stressful at times, dude.
Yeah.
My anxiety peaks. We call it anxiety man.
Yeah, anxiety man comes.
Anxiety man will come visit you, come jump on your back.
Yeah, he likes to come visit a lot.
Yeah, he'll come and visit, dude.
Especially the past couple of weeks, man. I was telling him, I was like, I just have this like constant anxiety, dude. You know what I mean? And it just like, it goes back into your brain, and it's like, but we all know we'll take that away, and you're like, but now you're like, better. Especially like having a year under your belt, it's like I can't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But as an addict, you're like, but I could.
Yeah. Oh, it would help.
Yeah.
It would help the first time, maybe the second, but then you've lost
anxiety man
everything.
likes to come visit all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but it's working through that constant thing, because that's normal life.
Yeah.
That's normal life. People don't understand that's normal life, and like as I don't want to sit here and say one of us, but like as we know, is like we have an escape.
Yeah.
And we've escaped that for so long, and
What's worked? It's always worked.
Yeah.
For us, so it's hard. I mean, it's hard to let go of something it's always worked.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually it doesn't work.
No.
And that's, I think, like you go through and, this is my second go. Well, actually more than that. It's my second time with any real sobriety. I mean, last year was rough.
Mm-hmm.
But when you first go to wherever you go or get clean on your own, however it is, there's almost like this, fantasy in your head, like life is going to just be better now, but life still happens,
bro.
So you just have to remember, and I just try to remember how bad it gets, and like you have to learn. I have to learn the hard way. I'm not one of those people that's like objectively look at something and be like, well, this is the way it makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nope, I got to test that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish I weren't like that.
Yeah.
Life would be a lot easier, I think.
The stove is hot. Let me check.
Oh, I got to touch it.
It is hot.
Yeah.
But you got to, now I just try to think of how, like exactly what I just told you. It's like, man, I mean, you were like heavily weighing killing yourself like the last time, so I have to remember all the bad things, because it's easy to remember the good things when you get away from it.
You have a good memory of like, man, I felt so good these times, but man, we got to take myself, we got to take ourselves to hell every once in a while.
Yeah.
Like we got to mentally go back and say like, hey, this is where you are, bud.
Right.
Yeah.
This was real life.
Yeah.
This wasn't somebody told you about this. You experienced this.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's important because I don't know, everybody. I say everybody. You know, you hear at times that, you know, hey, that I don't live in that house no more, and I get it. I don't live in that house no more, but I still go visit that house.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of where I was, so I don't get comfortable where I'm at, and be like, okay, you know what I mean? I don't want to go back there, bud.
Yeah.
Well,
And
it's like the times, you know, I go back to like the loneliness part of it, you know, and it's like my past roommates and things like that, like where they had to they had to come in my room and check on me and make sure I was alive, you know, and it's like I put that through my, because I live with Chris, so I'm like, there, you know, I'm sitting in my room, you know, like we don't really do that a lot. It's just like, I'm just saying, like at night, and it's like, you know, it's these constant dreams, it's the constant thoughts that it's like, I was like, I can't put Chris through that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we've come so far in life, and like, you know, that's my accountability. But like how selfish am I? Like I start drinking again or something. Now I'm putting myself back in that space of like, because that's all I did half the time was I would sit there and drink by myself in my room. Crazy to think, but that's how bad it got. Because like I didn't know, I couldn't go anywhere else. If I was at the bar or something.
Yeah.
But still, like, but I drink myself till I passed out.
Yep.
You know, that's what helped me sleep in a way. And it's like I try to think about those things because it's like, man, like how selfish I was, you know, and that's part of the anxiety. It's like, because we always think about the times that we put people through that. You know, it wasn't just us, but the things we did to other people to worry people.
It's funny you're bringing this up because, like, it's hard being an addict, you know, and you go through things, but also you have your, even if it's not working, you have your coping mechanism, you know. At least you can be driving to get what it is that you want, and that feels good.
Yeah.
And then you can use, and maybe, you know, not out for a while, but like I've always said that like the people that love us, they really suffer. Like we suffer, but like I had 4 years of clean time put together before my relapse this last time, and I just happened to be with someone and loved them, and I had never been on the other side of the table. And man, I much would rather be going through it than loving somebody going through it, because like, you know, we have to admit that we're powerless and have no control. And that's true, like in the context of AA as they bring it up, but there's a little bit of power there. You can eventually have enough. Like if you're lucky enough to live that long, you can eventually say, my life sucks so bad that I want to ask for some help. But when you're loving someone, that's the absolute no power, because you can't love them enough to want help or say anything profound enough to be like, you know, and everybody's always like, you're wrecking your life, you know, but you don't care about that, you know. You can't even see past what you're doing right now.
No, you just want to get high. That's the biggest thing. You know, it becomes your God, dude. It becomes your friend. It becomes everything that you want. It's like that alcohol, that drug, that chemical, whatever you want to say, becomes all that to you. And that's all you care about until you have that, until you put that into your body. It's just such a psychological, not only a physical addiction. For me, it was it had such a psychological hold on me, you know, because even as a husband, you know, when I was going through it, as a father, I mean, I'm still a father, thank the Lord, but I didn't care about any of that. I didn't. And that's people are like, oh, you're a piece of shit. You know what? I was a piece of shit like that. You know what I mean? But I didn't care about my kid necessarily. I say I didn't care about my kid. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, I just cared about, if I was dope sick, I didn't care about nothing else. I was getting dope. Period. You know what I mean?
It changes our brain, man. You know, you get to a point where like your brain, you're not the same person that you were. And it's like, I mean, it's like food or shelter or something like that. Like you were talking about your kid. I mean, like if you were starving to death, there's nothing you could do to help your kid. So it's the same thing with like our brain tells, like we go into survival mode, like primitive, like survival mode, and that is the only thing that matters. And like in your mind, you know, a lot of times people judge. I used to I'll be like, how, man, they have kids and they're still using drugs. What?
Yeah.
You know, but like your mind tells you that you have to have that to survive.
Yeah.
And you never make a choice. It's like you put it on the table. Like, here's my kid and here's drugs. I'm going to choose drugs. Like, you don't, it's not like that.
Yeah, you don't.
You think that like, it's just like food. You think that like, if I get this, I'll be okay to be able to do this. So you never like say, I'm going to just.
Yeah, neglect my kid, you know, choose my kid or drugs. But it's like, I can't go to work unless I'm not dope sick.
Yeah.
I can't, you know.
It makes sense.
You know, it does. It really does. And it's hard for people. I don't know if people watching, like, that's crazy to think about. But I'm telling you, that's the truth. I know I've experienced, I don't know if y'all have experienced that, you know, the way you're explaining, you have. But it's just like crazy. You don't care about nothing until you get well. And then you're like, okay, now.
At that point, you're just using you're not even using
to get high,
to feel good.
No, you're
and that's what other people.
Function.
Yeah, people don't understand that, I think, too. And I didn't either. Because like I said, I was well on in life before I became an addict. And I would look at people and like, how are they losing all their money? Like, they work so hard for that money, and like, you know, but you don't understand. It's just you're not even feeling any of the benefits from it anymore. You're just using to not be sick.
It's dead.
Oh.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, yeah. He's just gonna switch microphone.
But yeah, man, you're in trouble then.
Oh, dude, you're all. I mean, it's all. And it's the worst feeling in the world, man. It truly is the worst feeling in the world. That when you get to that point, that you have no. It's not even fun anymore, dude. Absolutely not even fun. Mine's so good. Yeah, you should go there. Yeah, we'll just switch them out. And it's just too, like, I mean, I talk to them, and I try to tell my mom this. My mom's not an addict. Obviously, I took my mom down some places.
Yeah.
You know, and, I mean, obviously, when my dad was alive, took him down some places. I mean, you know, my family, my brother, and an ex-wife, and all that, you know, the people that, you know, I so-called loved in my life. And you know what, y'all, you get to the point, or I say I get to the point now, is that, you know, I still feel times I'm like, damn, I can't believe I did that, you know, but, you know, that was a part of my life, and, you know, really getting past that, not only it has strengthened my relationship. I say all that to say, man, like, now that I can look at my mother, or, you know, my brother, or Chase, or the people that I trust, and be like, you know what, you're getting the best version of Chris at this point in his life. All those collective experiences, you're getting that best, you know, and that's something that I can say of all the bad that I've done or I've put people through. It's like, man, like, if that's what it took for me to realize where I need to go, my purpose and everything, then, you know, in a sense, it was kind of worth it.
Yeah.
You know, I know it sounds crazy.
I say that too.
You know,
I think, you know, at the same time, like, I don't wish like this on myself or anybody, you know, addiction, but like, it really humbled me a lot, you know, like, because you can go through life and you can hit all these accomplishments, and pride just happens, you know, and like, you're blind to the fact that you could be a better person, you know. It's not on your radar. You don't think, hey, I could be a better person today, like, because you're killing it in life, you know what I mean? And then, like, if you have everything stripped away from you, and you really have to take a hard look, like, at yourself, how you act, you know, just so many different things. Like, now, like, just like you said, connected with that, like, like, people are getting the best version of me now.
Yeah, I'm not saying we have our stuff together. My life's perfect. Like, I'm really doing the best I know how to do at this point in my life. Yeah. You know, and that's all I can do. Yeah. You know, because we talk about it, you know, in our business and everything, like, because I don't know, it's just like, it feels like so much stuff to do at times. I'm like, you know what? We're literally doing the best we know how to do at this point in time. You know, we could have maybe did something a little bit different, but hindsight's always 20/20 or whatever. But like, literally, when we came to work and we're doing everything we can to the best of our ability. You know, to be honest, to communicate, to show up when we say we're going to show up, do what we're going to say we're going to do, and that's all I know what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and, you know, and some people, it might be normal life to them. It wasn't normal to me before, but like, to take an inventory daily, and like, or think of how what you did may have affected in somebody else's life, you know? And so like we get I think benefits of like having to make amends to people. It's like, normally I wouldn't get to just go to somebody. It's part of my program, and you're coming up to that person and you're like, hey, this is for me. It's part of my recovery and it's also for you, but I did this to you. And a lot of times, you give them the opportunity of like, am I missing anything? Because we probably missed a lot. We were nodded out or like, you know what I mean? And they're like, might surprise you with a lot of other things they're mad at. But man, that just, to me, to humble yourself in front of someone, whether or not they're going to accept your apology or not, like, hey, you can sleep better at night. Hopefully they can respect it even if they still hate you. You don't really get those opportunities just being like a normal person. Some people do.
No, I mean, it's, to me, man, dude, making amends sucks too, dude.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
Well, it's telling people like what a crappy person you were. It's and if you tell them things that they don't know.
Finally, I realize it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's where that $100 went. You're like, I took it. That's where it went. Well,
a lot of times, no one likes to expose themselves, and like you try to save face as much as you can. You're already living a terrible life.
Yeah.
And then there's some things that they didn't even know that you probably did, and you're like, but to be a better person and to clear your conscience and to feel like you're working an honest program and you tell them things that they didn't know that you did.
And I think it's so important. You made a good point, Adam, to expose ourselves, because to me it like takes the power away from that now. Like, hey, you know what, I was a piece of shit. I did lie. I did do all these things. I did, but you know what, I'm doing my best not to do that anymore and make it right if I can make that right. Now say what you're gonna like, and I don't mean to be, I don't know, like aggressive. Like if you got something to say, let's if you got something negative to say, go ahead and say it, man. Because I promise you, because people we say this all the time, people are going to talk about you whether you're doing well in life, you've never been a drug addict and you're just to the moon, or you're a piece of crap and then you're trying to go back up or whatever. But just exposing yourself and saying, look, hey, here I am, like, say what you're gonna say, and I'll eat it, and I'm sorry I did that to you, and I'm trying to move forward with my life, man.
Well, I don't know if you guys are like this. I mean, yeah, it hurts, like somebody that you love, if they do have something negative or they don't accept your apology or whatever it may be. But like, man, I don't think that there's any, like for me, there's no one that's going to be harder on me than I've already been on myself.
You can't say nothing about me that I hadn't already said about myself. But.
And multiply it times 10. Like, I'm bad. And I'm working on that in therapy and like just acknowledging that, but being mindful. And I'm like, hey, you got to be nice to yourself. But I'm not. Like, I still practice too, And so you're not going to say anything to me that I hadn't already said way worse way.
And really believed it.
And I know that's true.
Like, like you really believed it about myself, But man.
No, well, it's a part of it's that process of restarting, man. And, a lot of people forget you can do that. And it doesn't matter if you're an addict or just anything that you're going through, whether it's your mental health or whatever. Sometimes you got to take that time in your life and restart. And you can do that multiple times. And people don't think like, oh, I got to get it together. Like, no, you don't. You don't. You don't have to figure it out. You don't, because if you think you figured it out, well then, buddy, I'm here to tell you you're wrong. Because you're never going to figure it out.
You never have it figured out.
You can figure a lot of things out in life, but there's things in your purpose and whatever, man. Like you were a nurse, you loved it and everything. That's your true passion, but obviously in our mindsets, it wasn't good for you. It wasn't good to be around that. And you find that out the hard way, but maybe something else is good for you. You never know.
Maybe you find your way back to it. Maybe you had to learn this to appreciate that, man. It's just,
you had to go through this to actually acknowledge the passion for it, or
the better held patience. I don't know.
There's different things, but a lot of people think like, oh, I got to do this and get it together, and you don't. Like that, I try to regather, and this is like a month-to-month basis for me, man. It's that month-to-month that I'm sober, and I'm like, all right, and I try to restart that feel like that because I have to realize where I've been, where I've gone, and how I got here.
Yep.
And I restart because you have to.
Yeah, it
It's
grounds
not-
you. It
yeah.
helps ground you. I
And you
understand what
have
you're
like
saying.
so yeah. I mean, and it's not like I don't know, man. It's like restarting the whole thing with like our business and you know, I've been doing what I've been doing for like 10 years, but you know, I did it well in some cases, but man, I had to restart. I had to regain people's trust. I had to let people know I'm serious.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like that.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to ask you this, Adam. Like, so what now? And I don't know if you can articulate it, but what is different now, you think, than maybe your life before? Like, where you're saying, like, okay, like sobriety is the way. Like, anything mentally happened, or you just got tired of it, or what?
Well, you mean different in my recovery? Like, what's
Yeah.
different this time?
Yeah,
I've been
what's
asked that
different?
question, and you know, well, back to what I was saying, like, I didn't know anything about recovery the first time, and I went to a treatment center, and my whole thing, I didn't understand how much came with recovery. I thought, you know,
Just don't do drugs.
take the drugs away and then you're sober, but there's so much that you work on in your life.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it the first time, and like I went to a sober living and they had all these stupid rules, and I say stupid in a funny way because I mean, you know, like don't vape in the house. Like, well, why not? You know, or don't be drinking energy drink. Why not? Like, you're drinking 10 pots of coffee. But it's all rules that like actually matter. Not necessarily because that rule is very important, but it's like following the rules. Like, I hear a lot of people, they're like, you know, I'm going to drive, if the speed limit's 45, I'm not going to drive 50 just because that's part of my program, to be honest. And, you know, I did all the things wrong, man. Like, we weren't supposed to have any kind of relationship with any women. And I didn't understand that. I was like, why not? I was like, I'm not doing drugs, I'm fine, you know. And eventually that's a huge part of the reason why that took me down. I found out the hard way, like going back to putting your hand on the stove, you know. And this time, that's what I really feel like is different is I went to a lot of different treatments. I mean, that's how we met, was on my journey of like, you know, tour, do rehab, 2023. I mean, you guys got
The
this.
adventures of Adam.
I was a transient patient, multiple play. I mean, I just kept my bags packed. I knew I wasn't gonna last 10 days. It's like, good to know you guys, you know. But like, once I finally, and I'll tell you, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever had dealt with a relapse, but that was hard, man. Like, it was hard enough the first time to get clean. Was harder the second time because I was in it, man. I was already in my mind nothing, and I knew the work that I had to do to get back out of that hole, and I was going to hold on to it for as long as I could. You weren't going to take it from me, and like I felt like I was two people in one body. Like, I know rationally, like a normal person, what I need to do, and so I would try and I would go to a treatment, but then I'd get back out and I wasn't healthy yet. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. And I would just like, oh, I'm going to keep this going for a little while before I start trying, you know, because the hard part starts. Yeah. But that's the difference this time is I really have been like following the rules. You know, I just graduated like a sober living. And, you know, the first time in 2018 when I went, like, man, I was in trouble all the time. I never got kicked out, but like, you know, things that happen.
Always on that line.
I was caught talking to girls. I was caught with this. You're going to take my keys this week. You know, like you're a child again. You know what I mean? You're acting like that. But this time, like, man, I'm so grateful for the people in my sober living. You know, and that's really what's different is I try my best and to make a deal with myself. It's like, I'm going to follow the rules this time because they're so important, you know. And that's really what's, and I'm happy, man. Like, I'm happier than I didn't know this except for experiencing it, but like, I'm not good at relationships, you know, like just because you get clean, that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you have this like high view of yourself now.
Yeah.
Like you realize quickly, and it's nothing like getting in a relationship for me. Is how like all those insecurities come out, you know,
Yep.
because like now you're trying to measure up to whatever this other person, like, and God forbid you fall in love with them, and then you're like, well, do I make enough money? Do I look good enough? You know, is this like her ex? Do they have a better job than me? And you know, that's something I'm trying to work on. Is like just being me. But like all that being said, is I'm not to that point yet, and that's what's different. Is I'm really trying to work on me and follow the rule, just the basic rules, man.
Yeah.
Make my bed in the morning, you
Right.
know.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's like that's where people, I guess it's the discipline in yourself that
Yeah.
you try to engage and find is where I feel like is the big part in my sobriety is actually doing the things I say I'm gonna do.
Yep.
It's yeah. Do I get up every morning to make my bed? No, because I get up a little later than something, and then but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's the part of restarting. It's like okay, but making sure I don't start drinking, making sure I don't the important things, But also those aren't just the most important things. It's gathering myself, figuring out what I got to do to complete the day, whether it's work, it's my, putting my shoes on right. It's little things. It
Yeah.
sounds stupid, but it's the truth.
Man, you said something that really I connected with was you mentioned discipline.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot. I know we all work out, and that's what it takes is discipline. Even in like I parallel consistency. Like I parallel health and nutrition and training with recovery it's so closely because like if you're going on motivation, like you can't tell me I mean like 9 times out of 10 I'm not motivated to go to the gym. But then it just takes discipline. Like 9 times out of 10 I don't feel like doing what I need to do for recovery today. And so if I'm going on motivation, I'm screwed.
Yeah. No, motivation, we say it all the time, dude. If we're going to the gym just because we feel good and I feel like going to the gym, then I ain't doing the right thing. You know what I mean? I got to go when I'm tired. I got to go when everything is, kind of, I don't feel good. I'm kind of bloated. I ate too much for lunch. Whatever it is, I didn't eat enough for lunch. Like, it doesn't matter how I feel. This is what I'm doing.
Yep.
I'm going to work out today.
Yep.
Rain, sleet, shine, no matter how I feel, whatever, I'm doing something.
It's not a choice. Like you made that decision. You make that decision for yourself long before that morning comes when it's time to go to the gym or it's time to go to a meeting. Like you don't wake up and you don't decide whether or not I'm motivated today to go. Yeah. It's like you've made that decision a year ago, so I'm going whether or not I want to or not.
Yeah, man. And it's just the consistency of it because, to me, my recovery was not built, or how I review recovery, it's not built in a day, man.
Yeah.
It's built in doing the same things consistently when you don't feel like doing it. Because, we do this podcast, and I'll tell Chase, like, all the time, I'm not motivated. I don't feel like going and sitting down with somebody on a Sunday or this or that when I have other stuff to do. But you know what? We made this commitment, and it's not about us all the time. Yeah. It's giving somebody else a platform to tell their story, to do what they need to do, to help somebody else. Yeah. So I got to keep that in my mind and where I'm going and where we're going. Because if I get too consumed about how I feel, and I'm not saying at times we're important about how we feel, but I get too self-absorbed with that. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, you know what? That'll lead me back down a bad road if I'm always thinking about that. But connecting with people like that all the time, man, and really trying to understand that through the context of myself and other people. Because again, it's just like it doesn't matter if I'm sad that day. I'm going to the gym, bud.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm didn't sleep good. I'm tired. Oh, got a lot to do. Like, man, for 30 minutes at least, dude, we're gonna go in there. We're gonna kick this out, man.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, So, but like I said, it just helps me. And we've said this too, Adam, is doing what's necessary. Especially in business and our jobs and stuff. Like, I don't want to do these things. you know, but it's necessary. And that's where it flips my brain into something when I know I don't want to climb that hill, that when I just like, I don't have to worry about the mountain. I just have to worry about right now. Boom, making the next step. I don't have to worry about the whole workout, Adam. You know, I have to worry about pushing this iron this set.
Yep.
That's all I got to worry about. I don't have to worry about legs tomorrow or whatever it is, or cardio at the end, whatever it is, man. You know, I'm like, I don't have to worry about that. All I have to worry about is pushing this iron right now, you know?
Yep.
And that keeps, you know, helps keep me grounded or whatever. I don't have to worry about the job next week or the materials list that we have to get together. You know what? I need to put this screw through this wall right here. Mm-hmm. That's all that matters right now, man. You know, so.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. So you're part of a 12-step program, or are you comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, man, that's part of what helps me, man.
Yeah.
I go to not any specific meeting. To me, you know, there's always, people get very hung up on what substance it is. You know what I mean? Don't you dare say I'm an addict at an AA meeting. Yeah. You know, you're going to get asked to step outside. You know what I mean? Not so much like these days. It's getting better, but like, man, I just go to, they all, every meeting has like something you can learn from it. It's all the same, man. Your substance is trying to kill you, just like alcohol is trying to kill them.
Yeah.
You know, so to me, it's all the same. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, take out this and insert this, whatever. Yeah. You know, so, but yeah, man, I do meetings, and I work the 12 steps. Mm-hmm. Man, it's just like, it's crazy. Like we talked about earlier when we first started talking about, it's like, I could have used that book before I was an addict.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's nothing much, like, it's crazy. Like, you think the big book and you think AA and you're like, oh, okay, these nerds. And, you know, I did. Yeah. You know, but now when you, like, really get into the book and you get into the practice of it, it's like nothing about drugs. Like 2% of it are about drugs and not using drugs. Everything else is how to be a better man, how to be a better person, like how to you even said it, like, you know, not focusing on yourself, like putting others first, you know, getting out of your head and having some humility, some humbleness.
That's the big part.
Big thing.
Humility, dude.
Well, you said earlier, I mean, like, once you think I've got it, whatever it is, you don't have it, then you're in trouble.
That's a bad space to be. And I know that from, you know.
I will never say I have anything. I feel like that's like you've just doomed yourself if you say, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
You know.
That's where a lot of people are like, I get asked that a lot. It's like, dude, how do you do it? How do you stay? How do you? It's like, dude, I don't know. I have no answer to it. There's no good answer. Yeah. I just wake up every day to try to be the best version of myself and try to help people in, you know, the best way I can. I'm not, you know, the perfect human being, never want to be, but by far any of that. I just, man, like I have a desire now, man. It's literally opened my eyes to see what's better out there and not sit there in misery in the dark, and like it's just that constant anxiety, man, like it just this overlooming just fear of nothing, you know, and it just sucked. That's the best answer I can give you, is to not feel like that anymore. I don't want to feel like that anymore, and I know what made me feel that way. And I know how I got out of it, and I struggle every day to stay out of it. But I'm doing better, and I'm happy and everything. But that's not, life isn't all about being happy either. You know, we talk about this a lot. It's a freaking, you have to, like, nothing's, people try to define perfect or whatever, man. Well, I'm here to tell you it ain't. Sobriety ain't. You can do better. Cool. But, man, it's not going to be this, like you said earlier, too, man. It's not like, oh, I got sober and, like, everything's just great and wonderful. No, I dug myself a big old hole. I'm trying to dig myself back out. Build a ladder. Trying to freaking escape it. I still do to this day. Even over a year, I still got things behind me, you know what I mean? And that's that constant anxiety. But I know how to push forward, and I know how to to aim a little higher and maybe get through it better, without having to run to the bottle or a beer or, go do some cocaine and this and that and escape this world. Man, it's just that's not how I want to live anymore. So I try to figure out something every day where I can take those thoughts and put them to something good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
That's it, man. And you know what? Also, like all you said is like remembering where you came from and where you don't want to go back to, and just try. And I struggle with wanting to be perfect or setting an expectation that's perfection. And one good, like like to me, a gift that I have from all of this, from addiction, is like, especially this time, like in the sober living that I was talking about, I was like around some people, and like I don't know how you guys are, but like I lived my life before this, and I didn't like confrontation. I didn't want to tell someone, even if I saw them messing up. Like in my mind, I'm like, well, I love them, but what am I doing? Like that's worse than that, But like I'm around some people now, and especially these past 6 months, that love me enough to hurt my feelings, And I've always thought, I don't want to hurt their feelings, you know what I mean? Like, who am I to do that?
Yeah.
But like, this is life or death, what we're dealing with, man. And if I'm doing something that's a little funny, like a guy who is like solid in my recovery is Michael Gramus. I don't know if y'all know him, but like he taught me like, love someone enough to hurt their feelings, man. And my feelings get hurt easily anyway. Like, probably shouldn't have been. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, wait a minute, you think I'm not perfect? What?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, he'd tell me, like, might be something little, man. Like, we were on this app called Life 360.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you can look down and tell where someone's at. And like, we got to go and pass. And I know people in Jasper are going to know, I live, and this was after Alabama had just got crushed by another football team they shouldn't have gotten crushed by this year. And he's a big Bama fan, and it was a Saturday night. And you know what? I went to the store, and I was going to get some candy bars, and I didn't even think about this, but I was on Arkadelphia Road.
Oh yeah.
People in Jasper know where, but there is an Arkadelphia Road that the only reason you usually are on it.
Oh, there's Arkadelphia over there towards Curry too, right?
Yep, that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And there's one in Birmingham.
Yeah, Arkadelphia.
There's nothing about it. If you're on that road, you either took a wrong turn or a right turn, and it's not good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he called me, man. And he's like, hey, how you doing? I was just checking on you, and noticed you're on Arkadelphia Road, and I laughed, and I said, oh, that's Arkadelphia Road. By my parents' house. I'm in Jasper.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, yeah, cool, man. I just was making sure you're okay. Now, 10 years ago, that would have really made me mad. I mean, here I am, 30, 40 years old, and another grown man is like checking where I am. And I was trying, but I'm doing the right things, and it's funny in perspective.
Yeah.
And man, that really meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I like consider myself lucky enough to have friends that it helps their recovery to call me out. Because at the same time, I can respect that and call them out if I see the smallest thing. Because it doesn't take long to get that back down into a place where you're in danger.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, man. No, and that's important to have people that will call you out. And, like I said, with love. With love.
Yeah. Well, there's a way to approach it.
Yeah. You can't be like, dude, what are you doing,
Well,
you idiot?
Here's the funny thing is having those friends, it's the being nice. I love my friends, but there's some of them like, man, we saw it and we just didn't know what to do. I'm like, God, I wish you would have, and that's a selfish way of thinking now, but like now I'm like, dude, tell my family, whatever. I had my buddy, that's my roommate, he called my aunt. That's how like, I'm like sleeping in my room and like lock my door all the time because he would always come in and out, and I was like, oh, But I had one knock and opened up my door, and there's my aunt. But he called her because he was worried about me. It got that bad. Yeah. And now I see it.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
But I wish some of my buddies, and like when I was in rehab, they would like tell my aunt and things like that. They're like, I wanted to tell you. Like, I was so worried about him and stuff. And it's like, now I'm like, and I tell them, I'm like, if you ever see me, even if I'm not, you ever see, either tell me or, tell my family, whatever, care about me.
Yeah.
That's love right there.
I had that talk with my dad.
That's love.
Yeah.
And I realize that now. It's not somebody sitting there, being a snitch or telling on you.
It's funny how we're
Screw
programmed
that,
to
dude.
feel that.
Screw that, man. Like now I understand, and I'm thankful for that because
Yeah.
that saved my life.
Yeah.
That saved my life. I was literally gonna take my life, and nobody knew because everybody was like, "Well, you didn't seem like you had a problem." Well, because I hid it.
Yeah.
I was good at hiding things, but I sat in my mind, and I was a wreck.
Yeah.
I didn't show it, but people are like, "Oh, Lee, I wish I would have known that." Well, you never would have known.
Yeah. We protect it.
Yeah, you would have known. But I was about to do something very selfish.
Yeah.
And if they wouldn't have done that, I would have been dead.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been dead, man. If I didn't get called out. That's deep, bro.
That's deep.
That's deep.
Well, man, I don't really have much else to ask, dude. I mean, are you good, Adam?
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys having me
Thank
on.
you so much for coming on, man.
Well, you guys are part of my recovery, man. Y'all, I was driving here just talking about that. I was struggling then, man.
Yeah.
I'd landed somewhere, and I just wasn't ready to give it up yet. And then it's funny, like a year later almost, we all are in the same gym doing what helps us stay clean,
Yeah, man.
And I'm just thankful for where I am. I'm thankful for you guys.
Yeah, man. Thankful for taking, and I say this to everybody, man. We can give money, we can give this, we can give that, but when somebody makes time, that's something you don't get back.
Yeah.
So we just want to say thank you for taking the time to sit down with us, man. That means a lot to us when somebody takes the time to do something like this.
Well, man, you know what? I mean, it makes me feel good that somebody cares about all the things that I went through. It makes it not for nothing. But if somebody could listen and it helps, they might be at home struggling right now, going through. You feel so alone, and at some points, I know we know, even if we had a relapse, we would know we're not alone. But when you're first going through it, you're isolated, and you think I'm the only person this has ever happened to. And both, I think all of us have battled with. It's the only way out is I would rather not be alive than have to go through this. And you start telling yourself your family will be better.
Yeah.
You're dragging them down, and all these lies that seem like they're true.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys giving me the time to talk about it.
Yeah, man. And look, I mean, I know you said that, but if you can look at us, anybody watching, or just y'all, there is a way out.
Yeah.
And that way's not easy. I can say that shit wasn't easy for me.
Yeah.
It was very, very, very difficult. But when you make that choice and you start going that direction, I can't say if it's going to be tomorrow or a year from now or 2 or 10 years. It will start getting better because look, guys, if Chris Osby can do it, anybody can do it, man.
But you gotta want it.
But you gotta want it, and you gotta take the good with the freaking bad. And at the beginning, Adam, like you were saying, there's a lot of bad, or the weight of that, all those decisions, because you don't have those drugs, so you're carrying a lot of weight, man. But I say it becomes easier. You become better.
Yeah.
You become stronger to carry that, man.
If you're lucky, you become happy.
Yeah.
Life is gonna suck.
Yeah.
Life's hard, man.
Yeah.
If
People
you're
get
sober
sick.
or not sober.
So, yeah.
But you know what? At least now, as things happen, that's days that are hard, I'm happy though.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself walking, I had, didn't have a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I was working a job that was not making a lot of money, and I was walking places, and I was it's easy to get in your head and think about look what I turned my life into, but then I thought back to when I had my dream job and I was making more money than I knew what to do with, and I was miserable, and then here I am walking from the place I work across Lakeshore, dodging traffic, and almost feeling embarrassed that people are what is this guy walking? Let's give him $1, Wish they would have. But I'm happy. You know what, man? I don't have any. It doesn't take people to make me happy.
Yeah.
It doesn't take like possessions to make me happy. It comes from inside.
It's
You know,
intrinsic, yeah.
like I'm gonna bring. I'm working on myself. Hopefully I can be an addition to someone else's life, and you know, I don't have like, because if you, you know, rely on someone or something to make you happy, you could lose that instantly.
Yeah,
But what somebody can't take away is like the work that you've put in to whatever it is, recovery, gym, things like that. You know, and I can have a bad day and still be happy, and that perspective is everything.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. But thank you so much, Adam. Man.
Thank you
I
all.
appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Love you, buddy.
Love you, man.
Yeah, man. Love you, buddy. Yeah, dude. Yep.
Show him some love.
Yeah, show Adam some love, guys. We appreciate y'all.